It is such a joy to be here with you tonight. I am excited for so many reasons. I've gotten to know the canons and the Institute and broke bread with them this past weekend. I've gotten to know a lot about St. Joseph's Shrine. I came back to the church last year. It's actually over 45 years. God is a very patient soul. God, I think I pictured Jesus in Florida in Bermuda shorts saying, I'm here. I've been waiting for a long time, and I came back, and it's just been a joy. And my whole life has really been a bit like that. It's some of these adventures you hear about. I never got the V8 that I wanted to do some of these things. I didn't become a private pilot till I was in my mid-30s. I didn't get instrument rated to fly until I was 39. I got scuba certified at 41. I got a master's in part of it in the Holy Land at age 54. And so I think I'm on track to get a PhD when I'm 90. So God willing. So it's a wonderful journey, and to be back in the church is just a joy. We've always had so many friends and such respect for the Catholic faith, and so it's the newest big adventure in my life, and I can't say enough about it. I just can't brag enough to people about it that there's so much important. But that's not what I'm really talking about tonight. I do want to ask you to do kind of a crazy thing. Close your eyes for just a minute. Close them. It's not a prayer. Close them. Picture, envision the most beautiful place in the world you'd like to go right now. Okay, open them. That's all you get. I used to go to a doctor who's a personal friend, and when I would come into his office for an office visit, he would say to me, sit down, let's talk about whatever you're here to see me about. I would do that, and then toward the end of the visit, he would get up and he would dim the blinds and turn off the office light, and he would say to me, close your eyes and go to the most beautiful place you can imagine. And I want you to calm down. And then he would take my blood pressure. He said, everybody comes running into a doctor's office and they're nervous and they just came up a set of stairs and somebody takes your blood pressure. It's not the right way to do it. And I was always impressed by that idea. My dad, my late father, had a severe hypertension. And I actually watched this happen right before my eyes. I'd put the cuff on him, I'd inflate it, and sometimes he'd go 210, 220, stroke territory. And I'd bring him down by saying, Dad, I just want you to picture the most beautiful place. Usually it was Hawaii, to be fair. And I'd watch the numbers decline right before my very eyes. And so beauty is on display in everyday life. Beauty is on display here tonight. Kids are here. It's really funny. I just relish the beauty of children. We've been around all 6 of our grandchildren this week. We have 5 kids, 6 grandkids, soon to be 7 grandchildren, God willing. And for those, I saw some ladies. Where are the Canadians tonight? There are more than ladies. Canadians, welcome. Yeah. So I've got 5 children U.S., that's like 7 Canadian. It's really, it just feels like a lot. But there's so much beauty at St. Joseph's Shrine, and it was on display for my wife and I this past weekend, and I know many of you who are not just supporters but attenders get to see it all the time. There's a community there that has been created that's more than just physical beauty. There's symbolism, there's tradition, it's on display for sure. And at St. Joseph's Shrine, being methodically restored with your help tonight as well, is a place that we're allowed to visit and worship. It's a place that uses beauty to glorify the very creator of all beauty. So you can step into St. Joseph's. You may be there for a mass. You may be there for something else. You can be there in silence. You can close your eyes. You can open your eyes. It's a sanctuary. It's a place where I think you can go and you can hear God speak. And I remember back when we attended church in Detroit for 12 years. We attended a Cathedral Methodist church at 8000 Woodward Avenue. It's called Metropolitan United Methodist. And our pastor became a dear friend of ours, Dr. Bill Quick. And he used to say something I've shared with Canon Cummins. He used to say, buildings preach. And I thought he just meant the exterior of a building. You go driving by or you come into Eastern Market area and you see St. Joseph's Shrine. That's not just what he meant. He said the people in the church can preach to other people. It can preach to a neighborhood. And to have a place where Christ is boldly proclaimed that points to him as not only the creator, but also the answer to so much of what ails society today is something that I think this world needs desperately. It really needs it. Having such a steady hand in a place like this with leadership of the canons and of the Christ the King is so encouraging. Canon Cummins explained more to us about this, that one of the charisms they have is this idea of the Institute being there to help restore. And it's not just to help restore the building. That's been a real charge. It's to help restore souls. And I think based on attendance and based on the people that I was meeting tonight, there are a lot of people saying that that's what's at work there. In the spirit of working for God's kingdom, restoration and supporting a cause is why I'm here tonight to help, and I think you're here as well. I don't know the people in the front if you've looked over your shoulder to see how many people are here, but how about a round of applause for this evening for everybody supporting St. Joseph. You all individually and collectively are so important to St. Joseph now and for future generations. There's an old story that goes something like this. There was a wise woman who was traveling in the mountains, and she found a precious stone in the stream. The next day she met another traveler who was hungry, and the wise woman opened her bag to share her food. The hungry traveler saw the precious stone, and he asked the woman to give it to him. So she did without hesitation. The traveler left rejoicing in his good fortune. He knew the stone was worth enough to give him security for the rest of his life. But a few days later, he came back to return the stone to the wise woman. He said, I've been thinking, I know how valuable the stone is, but I want to give it back in hope that you can give me something even more precious. Please give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me the stone in the first place. And I think that's what's at work here. I want to have more in me than you have in you. For you to be here supporting this shrine and maybe the next 150 years and beyond. So tonight we gather ourselves in some way to support and strengthen this beautiful creation known as St. Joseph's Shrine, and realize that we are caretakers of creation too. The shrine, 150 years old, a place built at a time when Detroit was growing and prospering, 1870s. My gosh, even Mort Krim wasn't alive, 1870. It's okay, I just saw Mort in Florida, he's doing great. Mort, by the way, who knows Mort? He's turning 88 in July. God bless him, he's doing great too. He's driving around the country in an RV, he's just doing great. St. Joseph's in the 1870s. Among the notable happenings in 1870s, I looked it up. Detroit College is founded, later to become U of D Mercy, right? The first soda, the first cream soda, apparently is served on Woodward Avenue. They claim it's the very first one in the country. The Detroit Evening newspaper is being sold for 2 cents a copy. Why? So they can beat the other competing papers that were 5 cents a copy. And the first woman in Detroit and Michigan is allowed to vote. Then something happens that changed all of our lives forever and continues to change it today. The first telephone call test is made from Chicago to Detroit, just playing music so they could see if the test worked, and it did. Later that year, the first telephone exchange is opened in Detroit. 124 customers get a phone number, and then Detroit becomes the first city in America to assign individual telephone numbers to everybody. And since then, that little device on your table or in your purse has messed up everything. You know the shrine, its caretakers, you included, witness that people have survived good and bad over time. You may have survived good and bad in your life as well. And now is the precise time for you to give back in your life to help this great evening. And so we gather. We gather in a great place. And if you attend St. Joseph's, you can be more than one that just helps. You know, that it helps that the natural stones on the outside have been refurbished so the building can preach, but you can become a living stone. And there's mystery there as well. I can't help but to quote a little scripture, 1 Peter 2:4-6. Come to him, a living stone rejected by men but chosen by God and precious. You too are like living stones being built up into a spiritual temple and a holy priesthood to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. For it states in Scripture, See, I am laying a stone in Zion, a cornerstone chosen and precious. Whoever believes in it will not be put to shame. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, 1 Peter 2:9 goes on. I don't know if you realize this, we, as Catholics, we as Christians are a royal priesthood. And that means you and I are made of unordinary stuff. We're surrounded by headlines of unordinary stuff all the time. I spent an entire career watching and studying headlines of unordinary stuff. And sadly, most of the unordinary headlines today, and even back in the day, are not made up of the good news. I'm not speaking of the good news of Christ. I mean, they're just not made up of the good news. Good news doesn't sell. People who've tried it, TV stations have converted their entire operation to tell nothing but good news, and they fail. We don't watch it. But yet we have such history to talk about. We're surrounded by headlines of unordinary stuff and good news, and we don't have to go far to find the stories. St. Joseph's Shrine is one of them. The city of Detroit is such a story. It is proving itself to be unordinary, and Detroit continues to be bigger than its naysayers. Headlines prove it, and the lasting and now renewed impact of St. Joseph's proves it. This is a metro area that is built to survive. We have grit. We love to build things. We don't mind working hard. We who work, live, and serve here are proud of that, aren't we? This is what Metro Detroit is about. And people who have poured their time and energy into the comeback of Detroit did this consistently, and that's what's great about the potential that's locked up in this room tonight, and your ability to share the good news beyond this room tonight. You know, if you take pictures, if you were taking a few out in the lobby, or you take them tonight with people at your table, make sure you share those on social media and tag St. Joseph's, because that's one of the ways in today's world where the word gets out. Supporters of a mission bigger than self. That's what's at work here tonight. Just attending, and I don't mean to diminish it with the word just, attending tonight, being part of an auction, attending St. Joseph's, that means that you're following a mission that's bigger than self, and tonight this function of support is one of those things. And so St. Joseph's ability to shine this light of Christ into not only the neighborhood but beyond. The people who are driving just at my table tonight at this event from Lapeer and Clarkston. I mean, we've got people driving in here and to downtown Detroit from all over the metro area and Canada. You can applaud for Canada again. Come on. And so your potential impact is huge. The Institute of Christ the King and its community put considerable time and energy into creating an environment that inspires, it attracts, and it highlights that St. Joseph is something special and pays honor to St. Joseph and the Holy Family at every turn, even at your table tonight. Even the visitors that are here from another part of the country, someone visiting with the canons, I said hello to him. Where is Jesus from Phoenix? Did you know he's from Phoenix? Right there. That's his name, Jesus. He's visiting St. Joseph, so we should applaud. I would love to get a call from you and be right in the presence of some of my friends when I see your name pop up. Wouldn't that be the coolest? It's Jesus. You know what? I'll get back to it. Think about the dreams that have come and gone in creating this day. Think about the dreams that have come and gone in somebody saying we should have a parish in this area of Detroit. And remember, where St. Joseph's is, where all of the churches on Church Row up and down Woodward Avenue, that was considered the suburbs of Detroit. Moving from downtown Detroit going outbound. So of course we know it is something different today. But so much has gone on. And think of the future and how you fit in this piece of the puzzle, even beyond tonight. Oftentimes, I think in life, we look at people or organizations in need of supporters and we think, well, somebody else will do it. And I would argue that sometimes the somebody else we're waiting for is us. Here's a definition of inspiration, because I'm inspired by this turnout, I'm inspired by the shrine, The definition of inspiration, the active power of arousing the mind or emotions, an agent of influence to give inspiration to. So I come here tonight as, yes, an observer of headlines, on ordinary news, good and bad, but I also come here as an observer of people and what inspires people, because that's what gets me going. I want to inspire you to feel that things are really possible, not what the headlines say, because we're watching St. Joseph's prove that God is in all things. And in all things, God can make anything happen. And having a rejuvenated parish that became a shrine may not have seemed possible, but it happened. Watching the Latin Mass attendance grow, as the canons discussed with us, to 700 people on a weekend, with the help of the Archbishop giving support, didn't seem like it was even possible. But it's happening. And it's happening right here in the metro area. So we all need to stay inspired and continue to inspire others by sharing what's happening at St. Joseph's, because it is a special place. And I know you know that. I've met a lot of people in my lifetime. I've met them on some of these adventures. I've been to the White House. I've met so many people over the course of time. I've met people who are important, and I've met a lot of people who think they're important. And I've met some who inspire. And those who inspire me are the people that I'm really in awe of, because they achieve great things. There's leadership wrapped in there, right? We're kind of in a world sometimes waiting for a leader. But these people that inspire me, that last group that I'm talking about, is made up of people that are special. There's something there, and you know this. Achieving great things doesn't mean changing the entire world. A great thing may be a connection that you make to someone's heart on Sunday at Mass, even here tonight, someone you meet for the very first time at your table. It may be the way Christ warms your heart, as he did mine. And when I asked out loud, how can I ever come back to this church? And the answer came inbound to me, not a voice, not Mort Krim's voice. I got an answer when I said, how can I come back to this church? And the answer was, why not? It never left you. I had to pull my car over. And so I've come back, and not because I'm here to say that that's something great. I feel it's great for me. But I hope that you're inspired tonight, because Christ can warm a heart, and we know Christ is, and will be able to change the world. And it's happening in places like St. Joseph's Shrine. So with inspiration from all that has taken place through St. Joseph's, let's never give up at all about ensuring its future. It's another 150 years to go, long after we're gone, maybe. I don't like giving up on any challenge. Maybe you're this way too. I retired from full-time TV news, but I'm not really retired. I'm just going to keep retiring until I get it right. So I keep going, and I hope that you look at your life in the same way. To keep going, never give up on a challenge. So tonight I'm encouraged about the future of St. Joseph's. We have witnessed opportunity at the shrine and just how God can move in the heart of the entire community. History confirms that in every century, in every decade, in every economy, there have been incredible feats of radical success in building churches and movements that honor Christ and serve others. Incredible accomplishments by individuals, dramatic and inspirational success stories have emerged all along the way, and stories that continue to unfold even here tonight. Success by human definition often requires radical outside-the-box thinking, unordinary thinking. It's about imagination, it's about questions, it's about the right attitude, it's about action that becomes movement. But let's not forget, it also requires prayer. It requires all of us to pray for not only our own lives, our families' lives, but that of the life of St. Joseph's. If the great things that are happening at St. Joseph's Shrine can teach us anything, it is that when we have a dream, any dream at all, take it to God. There's a pastor of National Community Church in Washington, D.C., Mark Batterson, and he says, you know, if you have a big dream for God and you write it on a piece of paper, why would you just take a little corner of that piece of paper to God? He's a big God. take him the whole piece and give it to him. And stand back after prayer and watch what can happen. So if you want to start a parish in the 1870s, take it to God. You want to revitalize a parish and touch many from all over Southeast Michigan, take it to God. He's a big God. Tonight we celebrate a big God. And all the prayers, dreams, sweat, tears, some furniture from Grosse Pointe, and continued leadership that I think secures a wonderful future to support this great shrine. Never give up on any of those things. Never give up on serving others and doing good in the name of Christ. I want to leave you tonight with something a guy named Dr. Kent Keith writes about doing good, about serving other people like you're serving here tonight. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest person with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest person with the smallest mind. Think big anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People who really need help but may attack you if you help them anyway. Give the world the best you have and you might be kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you've got anyway. I hope that you keep giving St. Joseph's Shrine the best that you've got and then some. And tonight, I think, is just one of those opportunities through the year. I am so proud to be back in the Catholic Church. I'm so happy to be with you here tonight. And I want to thank you and St. Joseph's Shrine for thinking enough of me to invite me to be here with you tonight. Thank you. God bless you all.